Zikoko's women column is called Her. So I definitely wanted her in the title.
We are for women by women. Majority of the people who work behind the scenes for HERtitude are women. On event day, it's just women. It can be very sad. It was important to us, at least from this is the 5th edition I've worked on, 3.5 editions. And from the very start, one of the things that has been important is that women continue to be the center of the event and the center of the community.
For example, people don't talk enough about how hard it is to get an all-female security guard team.
People always have this assumption that it's very cheap to do, or to pull an event is actually like, just like click your finger and boom, the events just come into place. I'm so sorry, like it is very expensive.
Last minute request. Abisola saying, oh, we have to buy an helicopter for an aerial view of something that we did not plan for initially. That has always stayed consistent. Last minute requests.
We had back and forth with clients.
There's always a version of HERtitude that we could cost more, we could do more, it could be bigger, we can bring Beyonce, you know.
So HERtitude has shifted from it just being core, younger, Gen Z women to even us trying to figure out a nicer way to say this. Okay, millennials. What's the next after millennials?
Other millennials.
Beyond the music and the crowds, we wanted to hear the voices that defined the space. These are the women behind the story of HERtitude.
I really wanted a space where women could exist without men being in the picture, and they could dance freely, dress how they want, dress how they want specifically for me. I mean, now we have a lot of raves and we get to dress how we want our raves. But before that, there were not a lot of spaces. There was clubs, but it was only a particular kind of girl that could go to clubs or look good at clubs, and how we're supposed to look like. So I really wanted a space where you could come as you are and just be a girl. And HERtitude was that space for me in my head. So it's nice to see that it's still like that. It's still the space where any girl can go and have fun without male gaze. But I can't claim the glory for that. It was one of these sessions that happened, I think a pitch session on Monday. We're having one of the sessions, and we usually have one specifically for her when we're trying to get her to more eyes. And so during that session, when we already knew that we're doing HERtitude, the events, I think we're still calling it Her the events or something like that. So I was asking for names. Itohan then was on my team, and so I think she was the one that suggested HERtitude. There were just different comments in the documents at the time for what would name it, and I really liked HERtitude. And immediately I thought about the energy it came with. I mean, it was funny at the time. Trust me, now that everybody likes it, HERtitude. Then it was just silly.
So Mariam pitched HERtitude, I believe, and she was the editor for the Her vertical of Zikoko at the time. And we'd been building these little communities, including our community of women, and she thought, oh, we'll do a nice little event and just to sort of bring some women and bring them in closer to Zikoko and kind of reward them for being part of our community. And we thought it'd be like a cute little event, 100 people, maybe 120. So she conceived it and she kind of did some of the branding and the packaging. And the first day they put out word about it to sell tickets, we sold 400 tickets for an event that we were expecting 100 people to.
At the first concept, HERtitude was supposed to be like a small gathering, like the first Z-Fest, which was about 200 people. And then, as we kept talking about it, I think we're putting the plans together. So something started, some science started coming up. Where one of them was that once you decide to do an event and you have a location, if you want to bring 500 people together, you most likely need to use a location that takes 1,000 people if you want it to be spacious and feel comfortable.
2022, that was the beginning of HERtitude.
I was still working at Big Cabal Media at the time, and so it was just me. I had another designer, and then we had a design lead, and they had reached out that they had this interesting idea. It was called HERtitude. It was supposed to be a festival specifically for her category.
I had worked at Zikoko for about a month when I heard about HERtitude and the fact that it was going to be a month from when I started working at Zikoko, and that was the inaugural edition. And I was really excited because I'd never heard about a women's only event before. I majorly worked on content and promotion of the event through content.
In the early years, they had always wanted to position women as the center in a sense, right? And so my work was to make sure that I found references, came up with interesting concepts in a sense that could define that in that way. So we wanted to do something that, classified or positioned women as the center, and also, showed women in the best position possible in a sense.
I think the most stressful part, beyond just how stressful it is to plan an event for anything, was finding the perfect location each year, because every year we learn something new about the location, and there would usually be something that we didn't like. So finding a better one in the next year was always like a big struggle for us. And that's in terms of a location that is safe for women, but also can accommodate all of the different activities that we want to offer during HERtitude. And then also just even getting together, like I said before, getting together the all-female security guard. More than that, like just getting together female contractors across different kinds of activities and needs that we need for the event, because it's really, really important that there is no masculine presence at HERtitude. That's something that we really prioritized. And I think that it was the kind of challenge that was exciting.
Fun fact, I've never been to HERtitude. And I've never been to HERtitude because it's all women. The camera team are women. The security are women, and in an ideal world, no man comes in as part of the event. So I've never gotten to attend. I go and I check out the setup and I leave. And I think that all women focus has been a special part of it. And has been a part of what's made the event special. We have had people who were a bit dismissive of it attend the event, and then afterwards their feedback about just how freeing it was to be in an all-women's event, how exciting the format is, has just been sort of really tremendous. And so I think that women do find it liberating to be in a space that's designed thoughtfully and purposely for them. I think that sort of excluding men completely from the event gives it a different dynamic than a lot of events do have. And I think every year we've tried to be as thoughtful as possible about just curating an experience for the audience that is special, that sort of speaks to their lives. I mean, the first year, I think it was Mariam's idea for us to have, tattoo artists and piercings. And I know women who have come and said, yeah, I got my first tattoo at HERtitude, or I got, a first piercing or a second piercing at HERtitude. The artists that we bring speak specifically to the audience that we have. And so we try to bring people that are close. We don't need the biggest artist in Nigeria or in the world. We need somebody that speaks very, very specifically to this audience and that they're passionate about. And each year, I think we've seen the value of that, and the audience has too.
Like I said earlier, it's really because we are clear on what the event's supposed to be, and the audience has been gracious enough to be clear to us about what the event means for them, and all of that comes together, and it feels like this really warm hug that every year we come together to receive and to give. And yeah, that's really what it is.
When we initially set out to do HERtitude, we had modest ambitions, right, with the event, and then the initial reception seeming a little bit more than what we expected from an audience point of view had us thinking maybe there could be larger opportunities. But at the heart of it, HERtitude was like a love letter to the female community. It was that we had this her community, we had these women in our community that we wanted to hang out with. I think that the team wanted to hang out with them. They had been contemplating doing smaller sized events, and all of a sudden there was just more and more women that wanted to partake in it. So at the crux of it, it was a love letter to Nigeria, to Zikoko's female community, and to Nigerian women at large, right? And I think that intent remains at the heart of it. And because of that, that also shapes the economics of it, right? So, as you mentioned, the audience we serve is very young, they're very ambitious, they're engaged, they're deeply loyal, but because they tend towards the younger demographic, they're still building their financial lives, right? So, from the jump, I think from that first edition and going into the second edition planning, what we learned was there is a price sensitivity to some of the attendees, to most of the attendees. As I said, they're university students, early 20s to mid 20s, just early career women. So because of that, there's always been this tension between what it costs to produce something that is truly great and what our audience can bear. And we are not because we're more about building this community. It is not in our ethos of the event to break the backs of our attendees, right? So we have grown revenue modestly year on year. And as such, the margins have stayed very modest. But I will say that pulling off an event of this cultural weight in a market with high inflation continues to be a balancing act for sure.
So my first question is that you've been involved across all editions, like from the onset to now. But what has stayed consistent behind the scenes?
I would say what has stayed consistent. Generally, it's mostly about the fact that we have to create a safe space for women. But in terms of finance, the fact that the budget keeps increasing and then we have to rejig, redo, and then having to check timing, like cash flow timing, how we meet vendor timelines and making payments. That has stayed consistent.
People always have this assumption that it's very cheap to do, or to pull an event is actually just like click your finger and boom, the events just come into place. I'm so sorry, it is very expensive. Price of everything. Today's price, I've had days to say this thing. Yesterday's price is not today's price. Event is very expensive to put. You're renting the venue, you're buying all the whole gadget and everything. But some people are telling you that, the office has 3 cameras. They are using 6 cameras to shoot citizen and any other stuff. So you're literally buying a lot of things and everything. So all those events is very, very expensive to pull.
I think HERtitude was one of those products that I didn't need to be sold on because the value was very clear, right? And the differentiator was clear as well. Before HERtitude, there was nothing that was exclusively for the girls by the girls. And just as a woman living in Lagos, I think it just resonated with me, right, at the time. And so we didn't need some extra convincing to get sold on the idea. Now, selling it to clients was a bit different because we weren't selling something that was a serious event. We were used to selling things like conferences, mixers, more formal setting, more events within a formal setting, right? But HERtitude was very different. What we were selling at the time was a good time for the girls. That's the brand, the messaging to the audience. However, to sponsors, the messaging was girls want to have a good time. It's the opportunity for you to pitch your products to 2,000 women, right? So whether it's lifestyle products, beauty products, banking or digital product, fintech product, savings, whatever, the girls with a purchasing power, at least to some extent, will be present at the event. So the messaging to the brands was very clear, especially to the lifestyle leaning and beauty brands.
We have been able to come up with strategies that work for different brands in the different industries because, of course, at first, you think that HERtitude is just for brands who are in the beauty, lifestyle, and whatnot. But we've been able to make space for people who are in the banking, fintech space to also be part of HERtitude. So we've created a strategy to involve every brand to be part of HERtitude, positioning them as one who empower women and support the interesting things that they do in their space.
I will be honest and say it's not the easiest thing for sure. But I think the way we're approaching this is a very disciplined approach. As I said, one arm of revenue comes from the tickets from the attendees, which are a demographic of people that are very price sensitive, right? The second arm that supports the event, and we will not be able to do this without all the sponsors we've amassed over the years, are the sponsors, right? So the hard work, there's always a version of HERtitude that we could cost more, we could do more, it could be bigger, we can bring Beyonce, you know? There's always that version of HERtitude because there's a lot of things that, you know, bring the women that we cater to joy that we could play into, right? But resisting the pull to do more when the numbers don't fully support it is a very crucial thing that I think I spend my time balancing with the team. So sustainability for us has meant being honest about what the event is, and understanding that HERtitude earned its place in ways that don't necessarily show up in a traditional P&L. It is one of our most recognizable IPs for Zikoko. It is a very large, tangible touchpoint for the community, gives us a warmth that numbers alone cannot measure. So I think what we've come to terms with is that we need to be honest with the amount of financial support and the amount of revenue and cash that can be used to support, that we get to support the event. As I said, we do big up our sponsors, but HERtitude is a very niche event, so it won't cater to every brand's, you know, marketing direction, every brand's marketing focus. So it may not, bring in the volume of sponsorships that perhaps another non-gendered or another maybe tech event might bring in, just because of brand alignment. So balancing ambition is being honest with where we are as we grow each year, to say at this year and at this point of HERtitude, what is realistic that balances and caters to all the focus areas is this version of HERtitude, versus, you know, growing a little bit further and causing something that is unsustainable, is what I'll say.
So my last question for you is, if you had to describe what attitude represents today in one sentence, what would you say?
The ultimate gathering of women. That's what it is. It's the ultimate gathering of women in Nigeria. So whatever kind of woman, whatever thing that tickles your fancy, whatever job you have, whatever industry you are in, however old you are or young you are, whatever your interests are, HERtitude is the ultimate gathering for women in Nigeria.
Before I joined Bikabal, I knew about HERtitude. I had a few friends who had attended, and the picture that was painted was that it was fun, it was a nice place to hang out, and as friends, the sell then was for us to go together and bond. Joining the team, I knew what HERtitude was about, and we had to sell it based on the knowledge of it being a festival for women, to celebrate women, and to empower each other through our shared experiences.
We've seen moms and their daughters come to HERtitude before. Was it 2 years ago? One of our colleagues came with her mom, and it was just a fun experience to see how she interacted with the whole experience. So HERtitude has shifted from it just being core, younger Gen Z women to even us trying to figure out a nicer ways to say this. Okay, millennials. What's the next after millennials?
Older millennials.
But we've had a mix of women across different ages, across different industries too. So content creators, YouTubers, people who work in finance, who work in health, people who work in tech. So our audience has just moved from it being a younger, smaller set of women to a diverse group. We have women who work in different industries, come and share their own experiences. So over the years, HERtitude has gone from it being, marketed or for a smaller set of women to it now being, we want everybody there. We want grandmothers there. We want aunties there. We want cousins there. We want your best friends there. It's for all women.
I think in the beginning, the question that HERtitude was answering was, do we need space for women? And yes, we do need space for women. Women are doing so much more, in the home, at the office, even in the society. There's so much responsibility asked of women. And we just wanted to create a space for women to
be themselves. Just, relax, enjoy yourself, forget your motherly responsibility for a day, forget your responsibility as a daughter or even as a CEO for a day, and just let your head down, have fun, meet other women that you align with and have like minds with you. And that is the question, or that is what we're answering from the onset. And now in the fifth year, the question now is, how can we make it a transformative event beyond just the day of the event, but making it a year-long experience for women?
What helps us to stay organic, as opposed to sounding promotional online, is that it really helps that everybody who works in Hertitude believes in the mission of Hertitude. All of the women who work on the event, all of the team members who work on it, really care deeply about creating spaces for women, so that when we show up online, as someone who creates content for Hertitude, I create content that I can relate to, because I'm a girls. I love women having fun. So everything that we put out comes from our own authentic and real experiences. So if you see a video online, if you see a carousel, a social post, a flyer, the person who worked on it really just loves what we're doing with Hertitude. And that's why it feels very organic. It doesn't feel like we're trying to sell an event to you. Even though we want you to be there, we're technically selling it to you. But the way that we go about it feels very natural, because of, it's a team filled with women, and we understand what women care about. We understand what they like, their habits, their hobbies. And that makes it very easy for us to show up in a way that it feels like we can connect to you, because we are the ones telling the story. We are also women behind the scene. And that has really helped us keep the event, or even the event marketing, as organic as possible.
We have a team of incredible people who are also focused on the vision, from the Zikoko team itself to the events team to the video team and the design team that creates. The design team every year, they blow us away with just the design direction for it. And this year they're saying they've come up with interesting female characters for our main character energy theme. So everybody really comes with their full self and with their full energy. And I think that I can't go into quantifying the amount of work that goes into that. All I'll say is that it takes roughly a year to put the event together. It takes a lot of effort from particularly our partnerships team.
From where we started to where we are at now, I say we've leaned a lot more into including different types of women. Like we say hot babes, we are not really looking at a certain type of woman. Most of the illustrations now as well, and all the promotion that's also going around, is targeting different age groups, targeting different types of women, whether they are very feminine or very corporate-led or older and all of that. So I feel like we're leaning a lot more into encapsulating a lot more women and showing that representation, and also just keeping it fun.
My favorite part of Hertitude will always be the community. You will bump into a friend you've not seen for ages at Hertitude, and to feel like you guys will just jump into the conversation from the last time we spoke. That is something that is very special about the event, that women who have not seen their friends in ages, who have not seen colleagues that they used to work with, they get to see them there. That is something that is very special about the event. I know I can't count how many friends I bump into at Hertitude, and it's always very lovely, like hugs, laughter. That will always be special.